question that can kind of come up a lot with estate planning is, what happens if someone who I named or a beneficiary in my will or my trust dies before me? So let's go over kind of what happens, what that scenario looks like, and how you can plan for it. I'm Darcel Lobo. I own Dow Law Firm in Normandy Park, just kind of about 20 minutes south of Seattle. And I'm an estate planning attorney. I've been helping clients for about 16 years now with estate planning and probate and real estate. And we're going to talk about kind of what happens and how to plan for if one of your beneficiaries dies before you. So let's just kind of get into what could happen. Depending on how the will or trust is drafted, that gift that you left to someone, if you left someone a car or jewelry and they've passed before you, that gift could lapse. And by lapse, we mean essentially kind of like disappear, like was never there in the first place. So that's one scenario of what could happen, is that the gift just is not given to that person that you've named. Depending on how it's drafted, another scenario is that it could actually go to other people in your will or in your trust, other beneficiaries, or according to state law. It depends on how it's drafted and what it says, but it could go to someone else based on the language that's used in drafting the will or the trust. And this can sometimes end up in a result that you did not intend. And so when we're talking about your estate plan, we do talk about what happens if the people that you've named do not survive you. Then what do you want to have happen? So you can have backup or contingent beneficiaries. So if you want your car to go to Jane Doe, if Jane Doe does not survive you, maybe it goes to Bob instead. And you've already outlined that in the will. One common term that we lawyers use in your will or your trust that you might see are Stirpes or Capita. So there could be language in the will or trust that says it passes to a certain person per Stirpes or to a certain group of people by Capita. What does that mean? Let me just make this as simple as possible in defining what Stirpes mean and what Capita. Stirpes means by blood. So if you say, I give my car to Jane Doe per Stirpes, what happens if Jane Doe does not survive you is that the per Stirpes kicks in, and that means it goes by blood to Jane's descendants. So it would go to Jane's children, then Jane's grandchildren. It passes by blood. So that's what per Stirpes means. So if you ever see the term per Stirpes, just know it means that it goes by blood down the line. The other option or alternative that you might see for distributions is per capita. That means by the head. So if you say, I leave my entire estate to my 4 children per capita, what that means is that it goes to the 4 children. If one of those children do not survive you, and there's only 3 children that survive you, those 3 will take. So however many people there are in that group, that's who will take that distribution. So if your will said, to my 4 children, for everything, they each will be getting 25%. If one of those children did not survive you, and you had it per capita, then it would go 33 1/3. To each child, right? They would each share equally, the surviving children. Let's say 2 children did not survive you. Then the 2 living children would share 50-50. And if only 1 child survived you, then the 1 child would take 100%. That's what per capita means. It means by the head, however many people are alive are going to share equally in that distribution. Now that's different than per Stirpes, because in that same scenario, if you left it to the 4 children per Stirpes, each child would get 25%. If one of the children did not survive you, then their children would get that 25%. So your grandchildren would share in that deceased child's 25%. So the 3 surviving siblings would not share 1/3 each. Instead, they would each get 25%, and the last 25% for the child that predeceased, that would go to their children. So it can kind of get a little complicated, but that's what that wording means. That's what that legalese means when you see per Stirpes or per capita. I sometimes hear people refer to it per stripes. It can kind of read that way, but it's not per stripes, it's per Stirpes, which again means by the blood. So when you do your estate plan, whether you have a will or if you have a trust, whatever option you go with, it's important to remember that your estate plan is not a set it and forget it thing. There should always be reviews of that estate plan. I would say every 5 years, maybe 10, but that's kind of getting a little bit long. I would say about 5 years is appropriate just to take it out, look it over, make sure it's accurate. But also before those 5 years, if there's any births or deaths or marriages or divorces of anyone that's in your estate plan, we should be reviewing it to make sure that it still reflects what your wishes are, what your intentions are, to ensure that what you want to have happen is actually what does happen in your estate plan. So here at our office, once we prepared your will or trust, we have it already in our system. So it's very easy usually for us to go in and make some updates if we need to change some names, if you want to change your power of attorney, if you want to change your trustee, you want to change your executor. If we've already drafted them, usually it's pretty straightforward for us to either draft a new document from the prior one or to do an amendment or what's called a codicil to make an update to reflect those changes. I will do either a codicil or just a whole new, will or power of attorney, depending on what we're changing and how many changes there are. If we're taking people out of a will, if I do a codicil, which is an amendment to a will, sometimes the client does not want everyone to see the original will and then what you changed it to in the amendment, right? So sometimes we just say, let's just scrap the prior will and we'll just make a new one. That way no one is seeing that you took someone out or added somebody else in. They just have the most recent will to use as far as what those distributions look like. So if getting your estate plan done is on your to-do list, maybe it's been on your to-do list for a number of years now, I'd be happy to see if I can help you. Our contact information is listed below for you, our website, our phone number. Our website has a lot of resources as far as frequently asked questions. All of our pricing is on the website, so there's no surprises about what it costs for your will or for your trust or what you want to do. I have all that detailed for you. I also have, I think it's like 6, 7, or 8 pages, something like that now, of an estate planning guide that kind of goes over what the options are, what the pricing is again, the timeline, what that process looks like. I want to make estate planning as simple as possible. That sometimes some plans are more complex than others, but I understand that for a lot of clients who reach out to me for estate planning, this is the first time they're ever talking to an attorney. And so you're talking to an attorney and we meet by phone or by Zoom or in person at my office, whatever your preference is. And you have to meet me and I'm a stranger to you, right? And you have to tell me your family dynamics and what your assets are. And that's kind of a lot to share with someone. That's very intimate and personal details. And just the notion of talking to a lawyer is, intimidating. At least it can be for some people. And so I do what I can by making these videos. We write a lot of blogs at my office. I put a lot of content out, just answering questions so you can be more informed. So for a lot of times, my clients who come to me, if they've watched the videos and they've read the blogs and they've reviewed the guide, they already know what they want. They say, Darcel, I want to do the will, I want to do the trust, I want to do this. And like they are, very informed as to what they want. And it's my job to make that happen for you and to do so in a way that you understand. I want you to know what your estate plan says. So many times someone will come to me with an estate plan and it'll be like a really large binder that's unnecessarily long a lot of times. And they have no idea what it says. I don't want that to be you. I want you to know it. I want you to understand it. I want you to understand how your power of attorney works, how your directive works, how your trust works, how the power of will works. I want you to understand that. So that's my job. And that's my goal for you if you're my estate planning client. So if you need help with your estate plan, reach out to us. I'd be happy to see if I can help you. And if so, we'll get you on the calendar. We'll meet by Zoom or phone or in person, whatever's easiest for you, and get your estate plan done and off of your to-do list. Again, I'm Darcel Lobo. All right, I'll see you in the next one.